Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the GGB Supplier Showcase. As always, I'm your host, Jess Marquez, and the man I'm with today needs no introduction in this space in particular, none other than David Bretnitz, Vice President of Sales for Kambi. David, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Jess, and appreciate the nice introduction, and happy to be back with you again today.
Of course, of course. How else? You are like one of my principal indicators of time. You know what I mean? How else would I know what time of the year it is
It's
that it's
G2E.
getting? Yeah, if I'm not talking to you sitting here in front of the screen right now. So this is great. Like I said, Kambi have been one of our best partners over the years. We've done, I don't even know how many of these so far, and I'm really glad to continue it again. And here we are again. As I said, we're here another G2E season, and also crucially for you guys in particular at Kambi, it is NFL season, which is it's interesting. I've always been a big NFL fan my whole life, but ever since joining the industry, and especially obviously covering sports betting, it is funny just like how much like you do have to kind of admit it is ridiculous to a certain degree what we do. You know what I mean? When I always imagine watching these games, and I will never not imagine like a boardroom of executives like pouring over NFL Sunday, like in a boardroom in their suits, like slamming the table on the desk and everything like that for every
Well,
game.
it's Christmas time for us, and it's weird. You talk about this time G2E, here we go. It's kind of the same for us on the NFL side of it, and really just everybody looks forward to that, from operators to players to Kambi ourselves. It's everybody works against that. That's the deadline for the year for new innovation, for new rollouts, new partners that come throughout the year. Everybody has that same target. We want to be live for NFL, and there's no other date that matters than NFL weekend, that first weekend.
That's for sure. And we already, as of recording, we are already past week one. We're already, both of us sitting here, we're both 1-0, so that's good. Usually, in the past few years, it's kind of been a little lopsided in terms of our.
It was ugly for the Bengals, man. It was ugly. It was ugly.
Definitely, definitely. Well, so in terms of, let's get down to business. So in terms of NFL for you guys at Kambi, what is kind of the emphasis going into this year? Last year, it's funny. Last year there was a big topic of discussion around, like it felt like week by week, almost quarter by quarter, in terms of like the I forget what the term used. I think it was like operator friendly versus player friendly results. You know what I mean? There was like some weird stretches of results last year that weirdly swung in either the players' or operators' favor. So kind of how do you look back on last year, and what do you guys kind of prioritize going into this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think for Kambi, it's always about making our product better. We obviously want players to win because that obviously keeps them coming back. We obviously want to make sure that our operators themselves are profitable too, and we feel that a strong product creates retention, allows for acquisition as well, and having something that is engaging will obviously bring those players to our operators. And so while we want to, obviously always win on our side, it doesn't always happen, but that doesn't mean that we're not winning. I think it also makes sense too when those players get to share in that success, because that's what makes it exciting. And we've spent this last year, or not last year, I guess last half year, since the Super Bowl, to try to get our product better. I think when you look at that and you look at the success that you have throughout the NFL season, even the college football season as well, having a product that is strong, that's engaging, really does give those players what they're looking for. Keeps it exciting, and I think that's a big thing for us, is making sure that we have something that is innovative, user friendly, I think, as you mentioned as well, but then also operator friendly to allow them to share in that success too.
Definitely, and that last point is really a key. When talking about you guys in terms of in the sports betting landscape, in the terms of you guys are one of the bigger, if not the biggest, back end suppliers of this industry, and not the forward facing operators that we are come to know. So in that way, it's kind of a different calculus for you guys, right? Where it's like, as you said, the emphasis is on product, with your partners and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different of a business model, different calculus. So when you guys, in terms of your guys' offerings, I know you have the full, like I think it's Turnkey Sportsbook, I believe, is like the full offering, and then you guys kind of offer modular things like odds feeds and front end and stuff like that. So at this point in time, with your guys' partners, and as you talk with your customers and engage with new ones and stuff like that, how do you see customers kind of working with you, or like customizing their own product and stuff like that? How has that kind of relationship, evolved to this point?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think when we talked last year, ahead of G2E, it was a lot on starting to roll out the odds feed plus side of it. And now it really is. We've started to do that, and it isn't just an idea anymore. Turnkey will always be a very integral part of what Kambi does, and I think when you look at the lion's share of the opportunities that are out there, the majority of them will still remain on the turnkey side of it, meaning they need Kambi to provide the risk management. They need Kambi to provide, the full trading. They need the full technology stack. While at the same time, it does open up that addressable market for us when we can offer the odds feed. So where we can take and funnel those external feeds, whether it's Genius, whether it's Radar, bringing all those together and creating one unified feed, it provides for more accurate pricing and provides for more beneficial risk. It also allows for combinability. It allows for consistency on pricing as well. Consistency from your mainline bet pricing all the way through to your bet builder and same game parlay and the live offering. Whereas if you have a fragmented offering with different third-party providers, each providing their own piece of it, you have various strategies when it comes to trading, when it comes to risk. And so sometimes you will see fragmented pricing. And I think that's one of the biggest, benefits that we can provide to those operators, especially those ones that are looking at the odds feed side of it and taking that through Kambi, is the fact that we have all that experience there. We can provide that sharper pricing. We can be able to support them based off of all the data that we have from 6 million plus active users on the Kambi network. And I think our global liquidity makes it all that much better. And I think that's really, really beneficial there. Now, on the other side of that, when it comes to the turnkey side of it, the majority of operators out there, whether it's tribal, whether it's commercial, whether it's moving into Nevada or elsewhere, they really lean on Kambi for that experience when it comes to trading, risk. They want to focus on customer acquisition. They want to focus on marketing and the operational piece while leaving the other aspects to Kambi. I don't think that will ever go away for us, and I think we stand at the forefront of that side of the industry.
So that's interesting, and I would imagine too it's one of those things where it's like the snowball effect, right? Where it's like the more adaptable you are, or the more examples that you can show people of like, hey, look at what we. Oh, here, I'll have to edit that. Here, let me start again. So it's interesting you say that, and I would imagine that from as your experience grows and as the snowball kind of rolls down the hill, you can more easily point to like, hey, here's an example of what we did for this partner. Here we took this and did this for this partner, et cetera. We gave, here this guy got everything and this guy only got one thing, et cetera, et cetera. One thing that I'm especially interested in today's, market is like live in-game stuff and same game stuff. So that obviously has become such a huge part of, the marketing of this industry, and everything is geared toward building parlays, betting in-game and stuff like that. Those two have probably been, at least in my opinion, the two biggest product shifts probably in the last few years with regard to sports betting. So, what's your guys' kind of efforts on those fronts, and kind of, how have those products kind of evolved for you guys as they've gained in popularity nationwide?
Yeah, I think first things first, you highlighted a very important part, I think, both from the odds feed side of it as well as the turnkey side. Being able to offer that flexibility is huge for operators. They can take as little or as much as they want now. And I think that kind of moves into the next question that you just had there. What it means for players is you do have a more long tail offering. You have a more combinable offering. And I think you probably know players want to play when it's most exciting for them. They want to be able to tell their own story. They want to be able to have an experience that is unique to them. And so when you can have the longest offering when it comes to player props, when you can have combinability across different sports, different leagues, that allows those customers to feel like they're getting what they're looking for. It's exciting for them. It's unique for them. It's built for them, and not just a one-size-fits-all offering. It allows them to really, kind of customize a bespoke offering, for themselves. And I think that just ultimately gives them what they're looking for. And it never gets stale. It never gets old. And it's something new. It's something exciting each and every week. And I think as the season progresses, whether my Bengals fall apart again or your Eagles continue to, excel, I think you'll start to see, how things shift. And you'll see our product offering shift along with that. So I think that's one of probably the most unique things, is just the combinability aspect of it, and being able to have a live offering that is combinable I think really does create the most exciting experiences for players, and that's ultimately what they're looking for. And for operators alike, it allows them to create the retention that benefits their bottom line.
Sure, sure. I mean, like I said, I think it's pretty much unavoidable at a certain extent that those are two things that any bookmaker needs to have in their arsenal in terms of product in today's market. One thing that you mentioned a little bit earlier that I really want to touch in deeper detail is Nevada. And that's one thing that I think that some people might, if you're not familiar with the industry, you might not know, but Nevada, in terms of sports betting, is really an interesting example because it's one of the higher handle states. Obviously, it's still, it's very prominent throughout the state, but it requires in-person sign-up for sports books, which keeps the large platforms away. The FanDuels and DraftKings of the world, they do not operate there. So it's really a huge opportunity for literally companies such as you guys that can build out these customized platforms because everybody needs their own platform. They don't have the big people to partner with. So as I understand, you guys are in the process of Nevada licensure. It's kind of a weird process. It's very regulatorily complex. So you don't have to go into all those details, but kind of talk about where you guys are at with Nevada and kind of why. I don't want to step on your answer, but why that is such a big opportunity for you guys.
Yeah, I think when we talk about flexibility, I think that puts that to the ultimate test. How flexible can you be? I think in Nevada you have the Nevada bookmakers that are very set in their ways, and rightfully so. They've been doing it longer than anyone else, and so to come in with modern technology, innovative technology that might be a little bit different, or maybe it just looks a little bit different, but ultimately, hopefully, gives them exactly what they're looking for, and hopefully they can be more profitable as well. And so the way that process looks, we have received our initial licensure there, but to receive full licensure in Nevada, you have to go through field trials, and so we're actively getting ready to launch that. With partners that we already have and others that we're having conversations with right now. And so we look forward to having that full licensure, getting through that field trial testing with our partner, and then further expanding there. And I think we've even heard it from the regulators when we went through the licensing process that they look forward to having other options in Nevada. We love the in-person registration side of it. We love that for our operators that we're going to have in the state. We think that's a positive. Obviously, you can probably expand further if you didn't have that requirement, but we're there, as we always have been, to support our operators in whatever way that they want to be supported, both from retail and online. And I think we're really just looking forward to taking that next step. Obviously, Nevada really is, regarded as the gold standard. And so if we can go there and have success, I think it allows us to showcase our flexibility, allows us to showcase our product offering, our trading, our risk management, which is fully customizable for operators. And I think that's a big thing for Nevada operators, the ones that want to have more control on that side of things, being able to open that up for them based off of their strategy, not Kambi's strategy, enabling theirs. And we look forward to that. And so, yeah, that's forthcoming here in the not too distant future. And yeah, hopefully our product offering, which I believe is quite innovative and long tail, will prove to be a success for our operators that we have in Nevada.
For sure. Well, this has also been great. Great as always, David, and I really appreciate you having you on. I do want to ask, obviously, we have talked about it, and it is right around the corner. I think, today is, I think it's officially a month from today is when the show ends. I think it's 6th through the 9th. So G2E right around the corner, obviously. That is also kind of the big to-do on the North American side of things. Kind of what is your guys' emphasis for the show and kind of your game plan in Las Vegas for this year?
Yeah, so looking forward to G2E as always. Probably the one show that really just brings everybody together in a very central location. So this year we will not have a stand on the show floor. By design, we noticed a lot of people last year wanted to meet outside the conference, and so we'll have a meeting room. If you need those details, you can go to Kambi.com. You can put in a request for a meeting. You can also look me up on LinkedIn as well, where I'm easily accessible. So yeah, we'll be there. Some of us get in Saturday, Sunday, so we'll be there all week and look forward to meeting anyone that we're already partnered with, the new ones from both, LATAM, North America, Canada, wherever it might be across the U.S. and Canada, and beyond. And so, yeah, we're looking forward to that and meeting with all of our partners and prospects again.
Definitely. And, you mentioned Canada, which is something that we didn't talk about today. I mean, we'll talk about in a future episode. But lots of opportunities, obviously, in North America and around the world for Kambi. David, thanks so much as always. It's great to see you.
Jess, likewise, always appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.